And here is my zombie app, and if you touch it, it's going to play sounds and get latitude and longitude.
Latitude is 40.48374645. Zombies longitude is minus 79.835169161.
And if you shake it, it's also going to react to that and play additional sounds. And now I'll go over all of the things this app does. It looks simple, but it does a ton of things. Okay, so there it is, the zombie app. We're going to be making this guy. And like I said, what I'm going to cover here is how to lay out layouts as well as components, how to catch events, how to play sounds, how to vibrate the phone, how to use the GPS to get location data, how to set the icon, how to open a pop-up, how to start another activity from your app, how to convert text to speech, and most importantly, how to convert an App Inventor app into Java. So let's go and take a look at how we're going to do this. Basically, I have the finished app right here inside of App Inventor, and then over here I have what is called Eclipse. And inside of Eclipse, this is a very common tool for developing Android applications, and you're going to see how easy it is. And as well, in the description underneath this video, I'm going to have a link to my tutorial on how to install Eclipse, but it's pretty easy, and we might as well just get into this. So basically what we're going to do over inside of Eclipse, and this is going to be a two-part tutorial, we're going to come over here and we're just going to go New. I'm going to right-click there and go New, and then you might not see Android, so you're going to come down here and say Other, and then this guy's going to open up, and you want specifically to create an Android application project. Now we're going to be doing some crazy things with this, but let's just click on Next right now, and I'm going to give this the name Hello Zombie. There it is. And then right here, this confuses people all the time. I'm going to type in New Think Tank. What you're supposed to type there is a domain name you own so that this is unique. If you don't have one, just type your name in there. Just do it in all lowercase letters though. And so that's what that is. And you can leave everything else be exactly the same as it is and hit Next again. And this is going to pop up. You don't need to do anything here. We're actually going to destroy that part there. Hit Next again, and this is where you're going to be able to select your icon, but like I said, we're not going to do that. Hit Next again. Make sure you have blank activity selected, but it really doesn't matter. Then hit Next again, and then you're going to get this guy right here. You can give it a name, but I'm just going to let it be main activity. Don't worry about the fragment part. We're going to deal with that, and then hit Finish. And it's going to do some stuff, and then it's going to create your little application here. And it's also going to have a little X in there that's going to say that something's wrong. Don't worry about it. We're going to fix everything. We're going to open this guy up, and we're going to take a look at all of the different folders here. I'm not going to explain them. I'm just going to start using them. And of course you can always leave a question below. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this stuff, and I'm going to go get all of the things I'm going to need for my app to work. And of course I'm going to have all this stuff in a link in the description for the video, so you will be able to download it. I'm going to go inside my App Inventor folder, and then inside of Hello Zombie right here. And here are all the things we're going to need. This is going to be the icon we're going to use. This is going to be the library that we're going to use. It's called libsimple Android Runtime. It's going to make it easy for us to make Android apps in Java. There's Zombie, there's Zombie Attack, and there is Zombie Moan. So what we need to do is put all of these different components in the right folder in Eclipse. So the first thing we're going to do is get this over here. It's called a jar file, and we're going to drag it over to our libs folder and drop it right inside of there. And then we're going to say copy files. Okay. And now you can see libsimple Android Runtime is inside of the libs folder, and that's inside of the Hello Zombie. Next, we're going to get our icon, and we are going to drag it over into what's called drawable HDPI. And we're going to say, okay, copy files again. And there is the icon that we're going to be using. And then we need all of our stuff for our assets folder. And all of that stuff is going to be our splatter background. So there's the splatter background. Grab that, drag it over here, drop it in the assets folder, hit copy again. There we go. And you can now see that it's over here in the assets. Jump back over here again. We're also going to need the zombie ping, which is going to be a background thing. Drag and drop that into assets. And then we're going to get both of these WAV files and drop those into assets as well. Okay, and there we go. All the stuff is in the right folders. And that is all we're going to need to do with this guy right here. And just as a refresher, we'll come over here and you'll see that we have the same sort of things. This is actually the zombie moan wave file. There's the splatter background, there's the zombie ping, there is the zombie attack wave file, and there's the zombie icon. Okay, so exactly the same sort of things that we just did. So now basically what I have to do is come in here and create the label. The label is right here, this guy right there. And also create the horizontal arrangements, the zombie buttons, the zombie moan sound, attack, the accelerometer, location sensor, notifier, activity starter, and the text-to-speech in Java. It's way easier than you think it would be. So what we're going to do, come back over into Eclipse again, and you're going to be doing all your work in mainActivity.java. So you can just come up here and close fragment main if that's there. And then you're going to see all of this stuff right here, and we are basically going to destroy it. So we're going to come up here to import, and we're just going to select everything and just delete it. I'm making a new Android Java tutorial which is going to use all that stuff, but I think this is the perfect way to learn how to start making Android apps, because you're going to be using Java, you're also going to be using some of the techniques or the names that you are already very well aware of. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start typing. We're going to go public class, could actually use what was there, but I'm going to delete it, and main activity. That is the name of your file right here. And don't worry, most of this is going to make a ton of sense. This is going to be the part that might look a little bit foreign to you. And we're going to say extends form, implements, handles, event, dispatch, ing. Okay, so there that is. This guy right here, what it's going to do for you is it is going to allow you to catch events that occur on the application. Okay, and we're going to be doing this a lot. This is underlined, so we are going to put our little mouse over top of it. There we go, and just click on import. Okay, and it's going to put that import, that file right there that we need. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little brace right here, and there you go. We're going to come in here to form. We're also going to import form, and there that goes. And then what we have to do, believe it or not, that's one of the most complicated things you're doing right here. And I'm not going to really get too much into what's going on. Basically what we're doing is creating what's called a class. And basically what this is going to represent your actual application, or the screen that we're so well aware of. This guy over here, screen 1. That's what this is. So what we need to do is basically model everything that's over here onto this. Okay, so don't worry too much about it, but basically what we're doing here is defining what is going to be in the screen, and I'm really not sugarcoating it that much. That is what we're doing. So what's the first thing we need to do? Well, we need to create our label. Here is the touch zombie label, and that's exactly what I'm going to call it over in Java Android. So here we are, and to do that I'm going to type in private, because we want to keep our information private if at all possible. Label, that's what it is, it's a label, and we're going to call it exactly what it's called in the other screen, touch zombie label, and put a semicolon, and there we go. We just created exactly what you have over there. Put our mouse on here and just go import. There you go. All done. Now we're going to create something else. Let's go back over into App Inventor. What are we going to create? We're going to create a horizontal arrangement. Okay, let's do that. So we're going to type in horizontal arrangement, and we're going to call it exactly what it's called over in App Inventor. We're going to call it horizontal arrangement. Not that you have to use these names. It is just my choice to use the same ones as I had before. And of course we're going to spell it right, horizontal arrangement 1, and put a semicolon, and then just come over here and go import again. And there we got our label and our horizontal arrangement. What's the next thing we need? Well, we need a zombie button to put inside the horizontal arrangement. No problem. Private button, zombie button. Same exact name, everything's the same. Come in here, put your mouse over it, and click on import, and make sure you click on the COM Google Development Tools Simple Runtime. That one. There you go. I'm going to move this thing out of the way. If you ever hear me talk about logcat, this is logcat right there. This is where all your errors are going to show up, but don't worry about that. And of course you're going to be able to just copy and paste all this code, and for a while that's what you're going to do until you just remember how to use this stuff. Alright, then what do we need? We need a sound. I'm not going to jump over to App Inventor, and it's just sound and zombie moan sound. There we go, created that. We need another private sound, and this one's going to be called zombie attack sound. Pretty neat. And we're going to go and import these again. Next thing we need, accelerometer, because we want to be able to detect if the person is shaking their phone, just in case we want to make the zombie moan sound. So accelerometer sensor, and we're going to call it accelerometer sensor 1. There we go. And then import this again. And then we're going to get the location sensor so we can use the GPS, and that's called location sensor. There it is. And then import it. And all of these names are exactly the same. Every one of them. Accelerometer sensor, location sensor, notifier, everything's exactly the same. Okay? We want to have notifiers or pop-ups come on the screen. No problem. Just go to notifier. And if you've used App Inventor a lot, you're going to be able to write this stuff out of your head like I'm doing right now. So come in here, import the library, spelled it wrong and it still fixed it. We're going to want to start the settings window where the user is going to be able to turn their GPS on. So to do that, activity starter 1, there that is. Of course, get the library, and then we're going to go private text to speech so we can convert our text into speech, and it's called text to speech 1, and import it. Make sure you get the right one. Text to speech. Get this one right here with Calm Google Development Tools. That's what you're going to use for everything. Alright, so what are some things? Let's go over into App Inventor and think about some of the things we're going to need. Well, one thing we're going to need is how big is our zombie going to be? Alright, over here we set it for 285 by 342 pixels because App Inventor automatically goes and scales up images depending upon the device. Well, we don't have that with regular old Java Android, so we are going to set the value for it. And I could use some fancy math, but I'm just going to keep this simple, and I'm going to multiply what I have over in App Inventor times 2.5. So I'm going to call this zombie image height, and I'm going to say 712 pixels. There that is. And then I'm also going to need its width. And integer just means that it's a number that doesn't have a decimal place on it. That's all that means. And this is going to be zombie image width, and it's going to be 855 pixels. So there we go. What else are we going to need? Well, we're going to be storing over inside of here. We can look at the block section. Maybe that would help us a little bit better. Alright, so what do we got here? Well, we have the latitude and longitude being stored inside of here, so we should probably have that over inside of here as well. So we're going to go private, and I'm going to call this a string because it is going to be a number followed by decimals and more numbers, and I want it to be a string. So a string just means arbitrary series of characters, basically. So I'm going to go latitude, and you can also define multiple little things inside of here. And what do they call those over inside of App Inventor? They call them variables right here. Okay? Now the only thing is, inside of here we often refer to these as fields, but don't worry about that. So there's longitude and latitude. We got those stored. What else are we going to need to store inside of here? You can see zombie latitude and longitude right there. Something else that I'm going to need to store is going to be the provider name, which is going to be GPS. So that's how we were able to get our latitude and longitude. So I'm going to go private. And I'm going to make this a string, of course, because it's just GPS is what we're looking for. And I'm going to call this GPS provider name. And there that is. And that is basically all I can think of at this moment that we are definitely going to need inside of here. So that means it is time to set up everything on our screen. And we are going to do that inside of here by going define, right like this. And this is basically like any Java main function. But the only thing that makes it different is because we are using these libraries up here, makes it a little bit easier for us to develop Java Android apps. Okay? So just stick with that. This is inside of define is going to be where we are going to define our application, put everything together and make it work. So what are some things that we need to do? Let's jump back over inside of here, go back into the designer, and let's look at the screen. Let's worry about that right now. Well, if we look at the screen, we can see a couple different things. It's not going to make any sense for our screen orientation to be anything except for portrait. So we're going to leave that portrait, and it's also not going to make sense for it to be scrollable. So let's also go and have our Java code handle that. Up inside of here, I'm also going to want the title for this to be called Hello Zombie, as you can see right there. So let's come over here and basically also change the background image. All this sounds like a lot of work, but it isn't. We have our background color also set to none, And for now, I think that's enough. So how do you come in here and do all that stuff with the screen? Well, remember I said this class basically is going to represent the screen? Well, what we're going to do is we are going to refer to the screen by using the word this. This meaning itself, basically. So this screen, what we want to do is set the screen orientation to portrait. So just like we're writing a sentence, that is what we're going to do. The only thing that is important here is that we surround this with quotes. And there that is, and there that is. There, you just set the screen orientation to portrait. Not that hard. What else are we going to want to do? Well, we also want to set the title for this guy. So, title, this title for this screen, and I want to call it Hello Zombie. And that's exactly what I just called it, and put the semicolon there. Another thing I wanted to do is set the background color. This background color. Couldn't be much easier. And there that is. And to define none, you're going to type in color underscore none. No quotes, and put that right there, and there you go. And then finally, to define the background image, we're going to go this, background, image, and then just call it splatter background dot ping. And that is inside of our assets folder. And there you go. And make sure you call this background image with capital I. And there we go. And if we look over in our assets folder right here, you're going to see splatter background.ping. There it is. That's what we're using. And then the final thing that we said we wanted to do with our screen at this point in time is to define that it is not scrollable. So scrollable and false. And there that is. Okay, so what's another thing that we're going to want to do? Well, we got to set up a lot of these other different things. The code actually isn't that long, so don't get worried that I'm going to type forever. Alright, so what else do we need to do? We need to set up the button, the zombie moan sound, the zombie attack sound, the accelerometer, the location. We also have notifier and text-to-speech. How about we do text-to-speech, because that sounds great. Well, basically what we need to do is initialize all these things, just like we did in the block section. So, to initialize the text-to-speech, we're going to go text-to-speech 1, which is the name. I gave it up here. Where's text-to-speech? See? Text-to-speech 1. There it is. To initialize it, it's actually pretty easy. We just type in the name of it, and then we go equals, and we say, hey, we want a new text-to-speech object, is what it's called. And text-to-speech, and then we have to pass it this, which is the screen. And there it is. What else are we going to need to initialize here? Well, the label at the very top of the screen is very important to initialize. And you can see right here, touch the zombie. So let's just select it. Taking a look at a couple things over here. What do we have? Well, we have font size is equal to 20. The text is touch the zombie. If we come down here, width is fill parent. Text alignment is set for center. And if it is bold, is checked. Okay, so we have to set all those things for the label. Come in here, scroll this up a bit. First thing we need to do is go touch zombie label. Define that is equal to new label, and then pass it this, because it's going to go into the screen. Now we can just copy this guy right here, paste it in there, and then we're going to change the text. Well, it's real easy. Just type in text, and the text you want on the screen, touch the zombie. Come out here, put a semicolon. There you go. You just set that. Now, if we want to change the font size, we're just going to type in font size. Font size. And we want 20, so let's type in 20.0 and then put an F inside of there just to keep this simple. That F says, hey, this is a decimal value. Okay, so don't worry about that otherwise. Just make sure you put it in there. Put another one in here. We also want the width of the label to fill the parent. Well, we're going to type in width, and then this is a little weird. We're going to go length, fill, parent. So that's what we're going to type in anytime we want fill parent to basically just do that work for us. Text alignment is going to be centered. We just go text alignment, right like that. And then in this situation, we're going to type in component. Let's just say that component always knows how to align everything to the center, and it's going to do some work for us. And all you got to do is say, hey, component, I want this to be aligned to the center. And there that is. And then make sure you import the component library, and there that is. And then the final thing we wanted to do with this guy, why do I keep spelling alignment wrong? There we go. We also want to come in here and make the font bold. We didn't do that. No, we didn't. Font bold, and yes, it's true, I want it to be bold. There we go. We got our label set up. Now what do we want to do? Well, we want our horizontal arrangement to be set up, because that's where that is. And this is going to be very easy. Basically, we just have to create it and then say that we want the width to be fill parent, as well as the height. Okay, so horizontal arrangement. If we want to be lazy, we can just come up here and we can just copy this. Horizontal arrangement 1. Come down here and paste it in there. And then we need to create it first, remember. So new horizontal arrangement, right like that. And we want it to be on the screen, so let's type in this. And now we just have to have it be fill parent. So we're going to go horizontal arrangement dot width, right like this. And we're going to go and get the fill parent thing, but I'm just going to leave it like that for a second. And we're also going to define the height. This is pretty easy. Alright, so we want the length fill parent. Remember, this does that work for us, automatically fills it the right way. Paste both those in there, and then we'll go back over into App Inventor to find out what we got to do next. Well, we went and created the horizontal arrangement that surrounds the button, so I think it makes sense to create the button. So let's just select this and look at what we got here. Oh, of course, we're going to have to create the button. We're also going to need to put the zombie ping image inside of there. If we come down, you're going to see that the width and the height is down here, but we changed that before to zombie image height. And then we are going to want the text alignment to be centered. Alright, jump back over here again. Type in zombie button is equal to new, and it's a button. And this time we want the button inside of the horizontal arrangement though. We don't want it inside the screen, we want it specifically in the horizontal arrangement. So whenever we create the button, we're going to say we want it inside there. So there that goes, and there that goes. So just like we did in App Inventor, we put stuff inside of horizontal arrangements, we're doing it again here. We're going to create another zombie button, or we're going to put the image for the zombie inside of here, and that's just going to be zombie.ping, just like in App Inventor. Then we're going to want to define the width for it, and we already defined that up here in these variables. Where are they? There we are. Zombie image height. Right there. Let's just copy that and be lazy. Paste that inside of there. Copy that as well. Paste this here. We have to also define its height, just like we did. Zombie image. Whoop, I actually copied that there, so let's change this to width. There you go. And then the final thing for our zombie button is we wanted to define that we have the text alignment set for center. Component alignment center. Exactly the same. Remember, that takes care of it for us. And there we are. Alright, so what's the next thing we gotta do? Well, we have the zombie moan sound and the zombie attack sound. Let's go and set both of those up. And basically all they're gonna do is assign the value for whatever the name of those is. That's it. And that's gonna be zombie attack sound is equal to new sound. And we're going to put this in the screen, so this right there. And then if we want to define the source for the zombie attack sound, we just type in source, right like this. And the source for it is zombie attack dot wave. And that's in our assets folder, just like before. We're going to do exactly the same thing for the moan sound. So I might as well just copy this, paste that right there, and this is going to be moan. And then this is going to be zombie moan wave. There we go. Pretty easy. It's actually pretty much easier than App Inventor, I think. Or it definitely will be after you do this for a little bit. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is if we're over inside of App Inventor and we go into blocks, we have to look at some of the different events like location changed and zombie button click. Well, we need to do certain things when the zombie button is clicked. Might seem like that would be very complicated to set up in the code, but it's actually not. We're going to use event dispatcher. If that sounds like you heard it before, well, you did. Come up here, handles event dispatching right there. Okay? That's just like a little tool that we went and plugged in there right in the beginning. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to catch any button click events that occur. And then later on in the next tutorial, inside of a function called dispatch event, we are going to check which component triggered the event, the click event, and then we are going to handle the event just like we did in App Inventor. So to do that, you just go event dispatcher dot register event, and you actually see it pops up right here. So let's just click on it. There we go. Don't have to type all that out. See, I was hiding that from you there. And then what we need to do is say, where did this event occur? We're going to say this in our screen. And then we need to give it a component ID. I'm just going to call this button click. This doesn't matter. The important part is this event right here. The event name, and the event name is click because somebody clicked on it. And there you go. That's the important part. You need this anytime you want to catch a click event. Click. Okay? And of course, don't forget to put a semicolon down there. And there we go. That's all we have to do to catch that event. Other things that we need to do is go and create the location sensor. And to do that, you do it exactly like you always do everything else. You just go location sensor. And where do you want the location sensor? You want it on the screen, so give it this, just like before. We are then, for our location sensor, going to have to define or get the best available provider currently that's going to give us our latitude and longitude information. And to do that, you just go location sensor dot refresh. See, it automatically pops up there. There you go, provider. And you don't have to put this or anything inside of there. It's just going to handle that. We're also going to want to create the notifier so that we are able to pop up a message if they have their GPS turned off and tell them, hey, turn this on. So, notifier. And we want the notifier in this. So there that goes again. If they need to go and turn their GPS on, we're going to need the activity starter just like we used before in App Inventor. So we're going to have to create it is equal to new activity starter. And guess what we're going to put in here? This, because it's on the screen. We're also going to need our accelerometer sensor, which is going to give us information on if this thing is being shaken or whatever. New accelerometer sensor, and pass it this. Then we want to also catch if the device is shaken. So let's just go and copy this because you do it in exactly the same way. There it is. Except in this situation, I'm going to come in here and just type in shaking phone. Doesn't matter, again, the shaking phone part, but this part does matter. And you're going to type in here shake because that's the event you want to catch. Or actually, it's shaking. Sorry about that. And that is it, guys. That's all I'm going to cover for this part of the tutorial. All of the code, again, is in the description for the video. And in the next part, it sounds like it's going to be hard and a lot of work. It's going to be a very short video. And what I'm basically going to do is create the one function that's going to handle all of the events. Please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise, till next time.